let's talk about Scream 6. And it's gonna be a longer one, so buckle up. First and foremost, roll the clip.
I am predicting right now at 11:56 on Saturday, July 21st, that he is the killer. And he's gonna have some like very creepy, epic connection to a past victim or a past character. I'm thinking like Scream 2.
I was right. I was 1/3 right. Guys, I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't have any connection to these writers and directors. Well, I mean, one of the directors does follow me on Twitter, but regardless of that, I just know my Scream universe, okay? I will say that the red herring was definitely Quinn, a little bit of Ethan, more so Quinn, but baby, I was right on the money with Detective Bailey. I knew that he had to have some kind of connection to a past character, to a past victim, to a past killer. I mean, as they all do, but I'm just saying, I narrowed it down. But honestly, all I did was follow the storyline of Scream 2. Mrs. Loomis seeks revenge on Sydney because Sydney killed her son, Billy Loomis. So of course it makes sense that Detective Bailey and his kin seek revenge on Samantha for killing their doofy-ass son and brother, Richie Kirsch. Oh, and I was also kind of right about Miss Samantha Carpenter kind of having a little bit of a dark side. We saw it a few times. First, when she was talking to her therapist, and how she kind of likes slicing and dicing, like her dad. And then again, when she enters the shrine, and she sees her father's knife, and gets the vision of Billy enticing her to kill some more. And then again, when she's stabbing the shit out of Detective Bailey, knowing full well that he has a bulletproof vest on. So she is just like stabbing like... and then ultimately stabbing him in the eyeball. And then we see Samantha Carpenter's darkness for the final time when she sneaks out her father's mask from the shrine room. But then, of course, she drops it on the ground. Okay, so before we get into the Easter eggs, we have to take a moment of silence for the double knife swipe. You guys, when I tell you that I went so feral in the movie theaters after I saw that scene for the first time, unmatched. One thing though, and I don't know if any other Scream fans do this in the room, but whenever I see someone in the Ghostface uniform on screen, I just, in my mind, say that it's Billy Loomis. I don't really like to switch it out for anybody else, you know, like it's either Billy Loomis or it's Stu Macher. I know that they're both dead. Yes, they're both dead. Stu Macher is dead. I will never see it as like Richie or Amber or Jill or Quinn or her brother. I'm always just gonna know that if there is Ghostface on a screen and it's chasing somebody, it's always gonna be Billy Loomis or Stu Macher under the mask. I don't know, that's just how I think. It's weird, I know. Another fantastic scene was the rooftop scene when Ghostface stabs his knife into the windowsill so that he can shake the shit out of the ladder. Guys. It was so... I have no words, and I talk a lot. And the tension and the anxiety of the subway scene with all the ghost faces. I was sweating. I was shaking in my seat. Okay, let's talk about the Easter eggs. So probably the biggest batch of Easter eggs in this entire film is the subway scene. So the first time that I watched, I picked up on a lot, but then the second time that I saw it in theaters, I picked up on a little bit more. Because if you remember, a lot of the extras that were in the subway scene were all dressed as iconic horror movie characters. So we saw Michael Myers, we saw Jason Voorhees, we saw the Babadook, we saw the Grabber from The Black Phone, the Grady twins from The Shining, Georgie from It, The Grudge, The Handmaid's Tale, Midsommar, and so much more that I can't even remember right now because There was just so many. It was amazing. Okay, so let's back up. So the first Easter egg that I saw was when Jason was actually watching Jason Takes Manhattan in his apartment. Which is funny because do y'all remember when we found out that the new Scream was going to take place in New York City? And we were all like, oh God, is this going to be like all the other horror movies? Is this going to take place in New York City? Is this going to be like Jason? Is this going to be like Friday the 13th Part 8? And then, one of my absolute favorite Easter eggs in this entire film is a nod to Ice Nine Kills. It was quick, but I was so stoked when I saw it. So there is a glimpse of Jason's fridge, and on the fridge is a flyer for Ice Nine Kills. Because, if you know, Ice Nine Kills is a band, and their last 2 albums that came out were all about horror movies, and Spencer Charnas, the lead singer of Ice Nine Kills, is now pretty good friends with the directors of Scream. And we're going to talk about another Easter egg that he helped with in a second. And I don't know if I told you guys this, but I'm a fan of Ice Nine Kills, so I thought that was really cool. So the next Easter egg is at the frat party, where an attendee is dressed as Wednesday Addams, of course, which is a nod to Jenna Ortega's Netflix series Wednesday. This next one I actually missed until I watched it the second time. So when Tara is talking to that random fireball frat guy, he's asking her if she's part of the sorority, and she says that she is actually possibly maybe going to rush Omega Beta Zeta, which of course is a sorority that Sarah Michelle Gellar belonged to in Scream 2. All right, so going back to what I was saying before with Ice Nine Kills and Spencer Charnas, you guys remember the bodega? Well, the name of the bodega is actually Abe's Snake. And this was Wes Craven's pen name when he would shoot adult films in the 70s. And Spencer Charnas gave that little tidbit of information to the directors, which is why it's in the movie. And of course, how could we forget when Tara punches Gale Weathers in the face? I don't even need to explain that one to you because y'all already know. Okay, so now let's move on to the Easter eggs in the music. Of course, we have Nick Cave in the Bad Seeds, Red Right Hand, which played twice in the film, but there is another Easter egg music moment in the film that I caught the first time that I watched it, and it was Dewey's theme song. So it plays towards the end of the film when Gale and Sam are kind of bonding and like making up, but as soon as I heard it, I was like, oh my God, it's Dewey's theme. So the next Easter egg is the van scene, which is actually called out by Mindy in reference to how her uncle was killed in Scream 2. Then we have Gale Weathers' address. So if you remember during that same park scene, Kirby is able to pinpoint where the killer is calling from. And it's Gale Weathers' address, which is West 96th Street, which is a callback to when the original Scream came out in 1996. Also, this I didn't see mentioned anywhere. There is a little bit of a Scream 3 callback. So remember when the friend group is running around the Shrine movie theater? Well, it kind of looks like at one point, Sam, Tara, and Chad are running through what looks like a hidden part of the wall. And if you remember in Scream 3, when they're at the mansion, that also happens. And last, but certainly not least, is when Kirby pushes the TV onto Ethan's head and says, I saw that in a movie once. Also, once again, I don't need to explain that one because y'all already know. So not to get all like dead meat kill count on you, but we're gonna talk about the kills. So we had Gale's boyfriend, Sam's therapist, Jason in the beginning of the movie, and also Jason's roommate. Of course, we have the trio of killers at the end who get killed, the associate professor who was the first kill, which is played by the iconic Samara Weaving. Then there's also some people that get killed in the bodega, and of course, Mindy's girlfriend. Out of all of these kills, I would have to say that my favorite was Mindy's girlfriend's Annika's death, which is probably one of the most anxiety-ridden scenes besides the subway scene in this film when she's on the ladder. Okay, so now that we have talked about how I am a psychic and figured out who the killer was back in January, and we talked about the Easter eggs, and we talked about the kills, let's just talk about the film as a whole. I wanted to express my emotion of just how beautiful and magical this film was for me. When I tell you the giddiness, the happiness, and just pure excitement that I had when the film was over, both times that I saw the film, it's just so important to me. Like, how lucky are we as Scream fans that we are getting these epic films added into the Scream universe. And listen, I'm not someone who always gets to do these really cool horror movie conventions. And right now, I'm a very small content creator. So when I get to see my favorite stories come to life and are adding to the love of the original story, I really can't ask for more. The pacing, the execution, the opening fucking scene.
Who gives a fuck about movies?
The twists, the callbacks, the Easter eggs, the acting. It really didn't have too many flaws. And that is really hard to say, considering a lot of the horror movies that are being remade or added to, they're just not doing it. They're just not giving what should be given. The only thing I think I would have been okay not to have is the love connection between Tara and Chad. I don't really care about that stuff, but I'm also heartless and I just want to see people, get sliced and diced. One thing I am going to say is, how did Chad survive? He literally got stabbed, I think, like 9 or 10 times. Which leads me into my next little tiff with the film. None of the legacy characters died, and nobody from the main cast died. I mean, don't get me wrong, they were beaten up really badly. Gail had a crazy chase scene and was stabbed a bunch of times. Tara was stabbed, and Chad was stabbed, and Mindy was stabbed, and Sam got a little cut on her arm. I personally think that the film would have really brought it up all the way to here for me if Gail had died. Now, let me explain. I like Gail's character, but I just feel like it would have made it so much better, because then we would have had one of our legacy characters and somebody from the main cast be killed, because in Scream 5, Dewey was killed. So, I don't know. I just feel like I just wish that she would have died, because I think it just would have made it better. Not because I think that she's annoying or I think that, she should be killed off or anything. I just think that would have made the movie go from here to like here for me, or like here to here. Also, we have to mention Kirby Reed. Of course, she came back. One thing I will say is I wanted a little bit more of her backstory. I know we got a little bit of it in like why she's in the FBI is because she wanted the monsters to be afraid of her versus the other way around. I don't know. I kind of just wanted just a little bit more of, what led you to that? Or what have you been doing since then? What other cases have you been on? I don't know. That's just me, because I'm always curious about everything. So I want to know all the details. I will say I did get a little sad when Gail did mention Sydney, but at the same time, going off of what I said in my other video about Scream, how at the end of the day, I want Sidney Prescott to have a happy ending, and it looks like in the Scream universe she does, because Gail quickly mentions that her and Detective Mark Kincaid are taking their daughter somewhere safe, and she's going to get her happy ending. So I think that was a nice send-off. So it is what it is. Also, another thing that literally just popped into my head as I'm recording this, there's hair in my eye, is I was curious in my other video about Sam and Tara's mother, and Gail did kind of touch on that a little bit. I guess so, because Gail asked Sam, like, what about your mother? And they pretty much have no communication with her whatsoever. Once again, as I said, I'm always curious about everything. So I want to know, like, about her and Billy, But once again, I'm just curious about everything. And I want to know all the answers all the time. So going back a little bit to what I was saying about Sydney, is that this film was so good that it almost didn't really need too much of Sidney Prescott. Would it have made this film even more epic if she was a part of it? Of course. But as I mentioned, because it was executed so well, it was sort of just like, okay, let Sidney have her happy ending. I don't want to say that it didn't need her, but at the same time, it went there. It was good. It definitely did what it needed to get done. So do I think there's gonna be another one? Probably, and it'll probably be crazy. Now, there is no confirmation at the time of recording that there will be a Scream 7, but considering how much money this one made and how the reviews are spilling in and everybody loves them, I think we might be getting another one. And if we do get another one, I'm gonna make a prediction video, of course. But I am already kind of predicting that Sam and Tara are gonna find out that they have a long lost sibling somewhere that's seeking revenge, because if we're following the movie, Scream 3 is with Roman, and he was one killer, and it was Sydney's brother. So, and you know what? I know a lot of people. So the first time I saw Scream 6 in theaters, when they were talking about Roman, somebody booed in the movie theater, and I was like, absolutely not. You will not do that to Roman, because I love Scream 3 and I love Roman. So I know it's like the fucking end of the world that somebody like Scream 3. Just kidding. Also, I think it's funny that a couple months ago when I started doing all the Letterboxd reviews, and then we get a direct hit to the heart from Mindy about Letterboxd people. I thought that was funny. So speaking of Letterboxd, let's talk about some of my favorite reviews, because what better way to end this movie? This is a movie. You're in a movie. This is not a fucking movie. Okay, I need to stop. I don't know. If I got stabbed 9 times, I'd probably be dead, but that's just me. You just had to be there. Stay for the end credit scene. It's super important. So I actually did stay for the post-credit scene the second time that I saw it. It's really funny. Fucking love Mindy, Queen. I really have to stop using that kind of verbiage. Anyway, Samara Weaving, please teach me about horror movies. I 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, 5th that for sure. Chad is literally immortal. Wes Craven would be proud. I love this because I too am a whiny snowflake film nerd with a Letterboxd account instead of a personality. All right, guys, I'm done. That's it. If you haven't seen Scream 6 yet, I don't know why you watch this video, because I literally spoiled the whole thing, but you should go watch it. And yeah, I loved it so much. Anyway, put new videos out every single Saturday. You can subscribe if you want to. Talk to you later. Bye.